everybody, welcome back to Lifestyle of the Believer. I am Gia Roberts, and as always, I am glad that you are here. Thank you so much for tuning in, for subscribing, and for watching. This is our third video in our pre-prime series in honor of the Prime of My Life Young Adult Conference that's coming up on May the 27th and 28th. And it is being held at the Hollywood Church of God of Prophecy. So check the description box if you're on YouTube at the bottom for more information and how you our contact information, everything. If you're on Facebook, then the contact information is above. Okay, so let's get right into it. The last time we met, we were doing video number 2, and that was on marriage. So tonight, as promised, we're going to be talking to the single ladies, and thank you so much for your feedback on the marriage video, because you guys had a lot to say and you wanted more and you appreciated hearing it, and I'd love to share more on marriage, but just for the pre-prime series, we're going to go on. And we're going to talk to the single ladies. And I have a letter here that I'm going to read portions of it, not the whole thing, because it's a little lengthy. But the person that wrote this letter had 4 questions, so I want to really get to the questions. And hopefully by the end of all of this, I would have answered their questions. Maybe not directly, but I hope to answer every single one of these questions. So it says, okay, let me start off by saying I'm so proud of you. I'm one of your biggest fans. I've been following you ever since you started. I'm so happy about the single woman series that you're going to start because I have a few questions. So question number 1, how do I know for sure that he's the one? I ask that because I made a commitment to God and to myself. Question number 2, once God reveals the guy, is it okay to date for 6 months and then get married? Because I'm not into dating for 2 or 3 years. Number 3, I hear a lot of people say you need to get out there so you can find a mate. What do you think about that? Do you truly believe that your mate won't show up where you hang out? And number 4, I watched your last video about dating and you said prepare yourself to be a wife. Can you elaborate on that, please? I understand cooking and cleaning, but I think that there might be more. I believe it's more to it. So those questions I hope to answer in this video. But I want to begin by first of all letting you know, because since this video is for the single ladies, I definitely want to let you know that in your singleness right now that you are okay. And I mean that you are whole in your singleness. You don't need anybody to complete you. That is not what marriage is. It's kind of like you are complete and this person is complete. So that whole farce, the myth, the fallacy of you need somebody to complete you, it's kind of just, something that sounds really good and really cute. But before you can even get married, you need to be whole within your own self. You need to be whole in yourself. You need to be confident in what you are bringing to the table and what you have to take to somebody, into somebody else's life, because you can't take a half a person or a broken person and take it into somebody's life and expect for them to not, for this marriage situation to work. Because you're bringing your brokenness and they're bringing their brokenness and you're like, make me whole, and it's just not going to work. So you have to be whole, and in wholeness, you find that in your relationship with Christ. So, you have to seek God. You have to seek God. And in this period of singleness, singleness is not a curse. It's not a bad thing. In fact, you can do so much. And I love my husband, as I say all the time. And I love my kids. And I love everything that I do and all the blessings that God has given to me. But I'm trying to let you know that in your singleness, you can do so much for God. And you probably heard this before. You probably heard this over and over again. And it's not to say that marriage is not to disparage marriage, because marriage is a good thing. And I pray that you get there if that's what God has called you to. But right now, in your singleness, know, number 1, that you are whole. Know that number 2, that you are good enough. You're good enough. Like God made you good enough. And number 3, in your singleness, use this time to grow in God. Use this time to be strengthened in God, because marriage is going to come and it will bring its own set of problems. And how do you deal with that? What do? You need to have a strong foundation in Christ. You need to have a strong prayer life. You need to be able to rely on God when things don't go well and don't work out the way you want it to work out. You need to know who God is. You need to chase after him. You need to find, God, what is my purpose? Like, what do you have for me? What do you want me to do? And you need to chase after that. You need to do that with your whole heart. Like, dedicate your life to serving God and doing whatever it is that he has called you to do. And know that. That's number one. You're whole, right where you are, even in your singleness, that God has a purpose and a plan for you, and allow him to use you in this period of your life. Don't spend this period of your life just looking for a husband, because maybe God is saying now is not the time. And you're wasting your time sitting there trying to look for a husband when God is saying now is not the time. Now is the time for you to focus on you. Now is the time for you and I to date. Now it's time for you and I to get to know each other. And when it's time for me to release you, you will know. Okay? So that's the first thing that I want to say, that you're whole just the way you are. The second thing I want to say, and this is going to blow your minds, but I think you know it, but you just haven't heard it like this before. But boyfriend-girlfriend relationship is not a biblical union. It's really not. Marriage is a biblical union. Boyfriend-girlfriend is not. So that's why when you are in a relationship with a boy or a guy, okay, and we're speaking to the young adults. So you're in a relationship with a man, it is almost virtually impossible to be celibate when you are in a relationship. It's almost impossible. Not saying it's not impossible, not saying that it's not possible, but it's virtually impossible because, and I wrote it down, and this is, I know we know what a boyfriend is, but I wrote down the definition just so we could know what it is. Because a boyfriend is a companion with whom one has a romantic relationship with. Okay? The other definition is a frequent or regular companion in a romantic or sexual relationship. So if you have a boyfriend, you better believe that there is going to be some feelings or emotions, and it's kind of like, it's boyfriend relationship is like pseudo, it kind of portrays itself to a degree. Kind of portrays itself like a marriage relationship, and that's why like it's so hard to like not go there, because it's a romantic relationship. So I have a good news, because I don't want this to be like a buzzkill and just like, I can't have a boyfriend because I'm trying to be a friend to somebody first. And I know, I'm not trying to be archaic or anything, but be a friend to somebody. Like, let somebody be your friend. If they come at you immediately in terms of a relationship sense, like, that's a red flag. It's a red flag automatically, because you know that this is going to head straight into boyfriend relationship, and that is going to cause trouble in your relationship with God, because it's going to cause stress on you, because you're going to try to keep yourself and it's going to be hard. Make sure, become a friend to somebody. In your friendship with somebody, you can establish what you want in a relationship. And you can talk to this person about where you are spiritually and where you are in your relationship with God. And if God has called you to do something, God has called you to ministry, God has called you, then he needs to know this. And you need to know about him. And he needs to know, like, if God has called you to greatness. Because if you begin by being friends with somebody and they understand that God has called you to greatness, they cannot possibly mean you well if they are willing to compromise this great thing that God has called you to. Like, they can't mean you well if they're willing. So that's why I say begin with a friendship, so that you can learn each other. You can understand each other's heart, like that's what friends do. Like, my friends know who I am, and my friends respect who I am, because everybody, even outside of friendship, everybody doesn't respect who you are. But your friends know who you are. They respect who you are. They respect the call of God on your life. They respect your marriage, and they respect your other relationships. So you can't be friends with me if you can't respect the fact that I'm married. You can't be friends with me if you don't respect the fact that I have kids. So the same thing with a friendship, in a male-female friendship. Like, we can't be friends if you can't respect the fact that I have a relationship with God. And in my relationship with God, it causes me to have boundaries, and I'm not able to do certain things because I have a relationship with God. Once you establish that, and they kind of get that, and they respect that, you got to get some kind of indication that they respect this relationship that I have with God. Then, and only then, can you move into a relationship be it boyfriend or girlfriend. And this is only if through your friendship there are no red flags. And there is nothing that says, wait a minute, something's wrong with this picture. But immediately, if you're friends and you see that there's a red flag, then you know that you're not going to move this friendship into boyfriend territory. It's just that simple. But if you start off as boyfriend and then, you have this breakup and then you have like all of this stuff and emotions involved, don't even go there. Be friends. They don't want to be friends that let you know first and foremost that they don't even respect you, because that's what you want and that's what you need in order to get to know somebody before you go to that next step. So, I mean, I know I just said a mouthful, and I know it may sound archaic because people are like, you have to understand, your standards and the world standards are different. I'm not talking to the world. I'm talking to single ladies who are Christian, who are trying to see how in the world can I date in this world and not compromise my relationship with God. Not compromise the fact that I got to get up on Sunday morning and sing in the praise team. Doesn't compromise the fact that I got to teach Sunday school. Doesn't compromise the fact that I'm over the youth ministry and I'm single. And how can I teach these kids about being celibate and all of this other stuff if I'm not doing it myself? Like, I'm talking to the single ladies who are trying to serve God and who's trying to like live a life for Christ. And you also know that eventually you want to be married. So of course you have to date, but you don't jump from not knowing somebody into a relationship, because remember, boyfriend, intimate, romantic relationships. If you know that you are not strong enough, I don't even say you go there. Establish some ground rules through friendship first. And the guys, you're watching this and you're like, I can't wait till our turn because you got to fix this. But that's the truth, and it goes both ways. So if you are a young man and you are watching this, you need to know as well that you need to be a friend first and establish some respect, establish some ground rules. And once you have established that, then you can decide whether you want this relationship to go into boyfriend and girlfriend. And then after you decide, so this brings me to her question, like, can I date for 6 months? Of course you can date for 6 months. If you have been a friend with this person and they have gone through this process and they respect you and your relationship with God, and they know what the ground rules are, they know what you expect, they know all of that. And you decide that, okay, so let's date for a little bit. You know what you're getting yourself into, but also they know what they're getting themselves into. And so if you decide after 6 months that you know this person well enough, if you've already decided you want to date them and you want to get married, I am not the one to tell you you got to wait 2 or 3 years, because I'm not the one, I'm just saying. If that's where God is leading you and you've consulted God and you say, God is even telling you that, you have to consult God throughout the entire process. Like, you can't just consult God when it comes time to get married and say, God, should I marry him? It's kind of like, you never consulted me, about a friendship. You never consulted me about whether you should give me a number. You never consulted me about dating him, and all of a sudden you get married and you're like, God, what should I do? You understand what I'm saying? So God needs to be in the midst. And the Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 12 tells us that a 3-strand cord is not easily broken. So that's when you get married. That's you, your husband, and God. And then it's not easily broken. It's not easily like compromised. It's not easy for the enemy to get in there and destroy you, because you have Christ in your life. So the other question that she wanted to know was, let's see, I hear a lot of people say you need to find a mate where you are. Go out and find a mate. I'm not telling anybody to stay home and go to church. And that's it. Go home, go to church, go to work. And if your life is just that busy and that's all it happens, God will bring somebody to you. But if there's nothing wrong with going out. But I don't say go out to look for someone. God can bring somebody to you. Delight yourself in the Lord. Just melt in him. Just immerse yourself in him, and he will do it all. He will do it all. Okay? So that answers that question. The next question is, I watched your last video about dating, and you said something about preparing yourself. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's so much more to preparing yourself for marriage than learning how to cook, and that's a big one. And it really is. I can tell you, because You need to know how to cook stuff, because if you only know how to cook a couple of things, that can get boring after a while, and eating out can get expensive. But of course, that's not a criteria for marriage, because you can learn. If you're willing to, you can learn as you go along. There's no, he has this. I mean, get rid of all of that and let God bring you your husband. You have to have red flags in terms of he has to be a Christian. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. He does not have to be a minister. He doesn't have to be a deacon in the church, but he has to be a Christian, and not just by religion. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, I reiterate, we're talking to the young adult single ladies who love God and you want to serve God with your life. He needs to love God. That's what I'm talking about. Like, love God. Love God. And then he can lead you as a wife. You know what I'm saying? As a husband to his wife when you guys get married, and if it gets to that point. But he has to love God. And I don't want to say he has to be a Christian, because listen, anybody can be a wolf in sheep's clothing, because if you look good and you have an anointing and everything, listen, he can start coming to church. He'd be at church every Sunday. He'd be singing, everything. But that's why you form a friendship. Once you form a friendship with somebody, or, with God opens that door for a friendship, you get to know them. And as you talk to them, you begin to find out, like, okay, God will let you know, like, don't play. Don't sleep on God and act like he don't let you know and give you the signs. Like, he will let you know if this is not the right person. And some of us, God has told us, and our married folks, like, chime in, put something on there. Like, God lets you know if this is the right person or if this isn't the right person. And I will tell you that whoever you marry, that's the person you marry. What do I mean by that? Like, they don't change. They either become more of themselves or less of themselves, but the person you marry is the person you marry, okay? If he had an attitude when you marry him, he's going to have an attitude. But as you friend this person, and then as you date this person, you begin to see, okay, well, this is something that I can live with. So, and then I want to talk to you, and oh my goodness, we might have to do a part 2 to this. Being unequally yoked. When you marry somebody, that person who you marry, that's who you marry. Listen, I'm not trying to tell anybody, because see, there's a reputation for the church. I know about it. The reputation is the church trying to keep all the ladies single so they can stay in the church and sing in the choir and play the tambourine, and that's it, and keep them to themselves. Like, that's not the point. The thing is that when you are unequally yoked, that means that you are in a relationship with somebody that does not know God. You are automatically at odds with each other. You are automatically on 2 different teams, right? You are playing for the Heat, and this one is playing for the Clippers, right? You guys are on 2 different teams. You're in the same arena, right? Because you like each other and you like basketball, but you're on 2 different teams. So, whatever you decide that you want to be with somebody and they're not a Christian, and you decide to go against everything that you know. Everything that you know, you decide to go against. What you have is what you got. Okay? Don't get with somebody if you know that this person does not love God. Because as you grow in God, you love God, right? You love God. You don't love God. You love God, and this person does not love God. They're Christian by religion. It's going to cause some conflict. It will. It will. But when you say I do, what you get is what you get. And you pray that God would strengthen you. You pray for your husband. You pray that God would do whatever it takes to change him and turn him. But in the meantime, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. So this is why we go through all these steps before we get married. So we know what we're getting. When we get married, we know what we're getting. So what do you need to do to prepare for marriage? One of the things I know that is important is sharing. Like, it's not just about you anymore. It's just not, you can't just decide, to stop on the way home and get you something to eat. Like, you can't do that. You have somebody that you're married to, that your rib and bone of your bone and flesh of your flesh, and you can't sit down and eat and not worry about that person. So I think part of being married is part of compromise, and definitely sharing your life. sharing your bed, sharing your home, sharing your kitchen cabinet, sharing everything. And so if you're a selfish person, right? And we all have our faults, but if you're a selfish person, then you need to ask God to prepare you so that you're able to be able to share your life with somebody. You definitely want to be somebody that is trustworthy, because I think one of the things that can destroy a relationship is not being trustworthy. And what I mean by that is sometimes like there isn't anything that you do that is like not trustworthy, but because the scripture says like shun the very appearance of evil. So the fact that you have and remember, you get what you get. So this person, if you follow what I said in terms of dating, you know what you're getting. So there is no major surprise here. But if you are dating somebody, you decide to marry somebody, you know what you're getting, and you don't want to do something that will cause somebody to not trust you when you're not doing anything untrustworthy. I hope I'm making sense here. What I mean is, like, let's say that you have this friend, this guy friend, and your husband doesn't have a problem with him, or because you passed the test, but you decide that you're gonna go out and y'all gonna have lunch, or you're gonna have dinner. You're gonna have dinner, and you're gonna hang out late and whatever. Like, don't do that. That causes trust issues. Oh, well, he know we were friends since but why put yourself in a position, to cause issues of trust in your relationship? So, go out and enjoy yourself if this is your friend and you've been friends for a long time, but like be sensitive and be respectful to your relationship that you're in. So be trustworthy. Do things that will cause you to be worthy of trust and not cause somebody to not trust you. So the other thing that I wanted to say to you guys, my single ladies, is that you want to be make sure that you understand that there has to be something that is different about the single Christian lady who is dating and the single lady who's dating who is not a Christian. There has to be something different about the way you carry yourself, because you have to realize, and we have to think beyond ourselves, right? You think beyond ourselves and beyond our families, because a lot of times we think about our families and what it would, what how our actions would represent our family. But we also have to think about how our actions represent the kingdom of God, right? Because, if you are saying that you are a child of God, if you are saying that you are in ministry, if you are saying that you are called and you're dating and dating and dating and dating and you're doing all of this stuff, somebody knows about it, right? Even though, you think nobody knows, somebody knows about it, and somebody is buzzing and saying, because the world don't care about your reputation. The world really is saying, you call yourself a Christian and you're doing this and this and this and this and this. And so you're really making everybody else that's supposed to be a Christian look really, really bad. So then you're compromising your credibility. And you're compromising the credibility of all of the single ladies. So that's why the guys think that, these girls say they're Christian, but they're really not Christians. Because I've dated a couple of Christian girls, and this is what they say, and this is what they do. Oh, don't put yourself in compromising situations and act like, how did I get here? You know how you got there. You know just how you got there. Don't do it. Don't put yourself in compromising situations, because when you put yourself in compromising situations, 9 times out of 10, you will compromise. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate your support. And please go to Eventbrite. Look up Prime of My Life Young Adult Conference and register right away, because seats are filling up. And I look forward to seeing all of you. T-shirts, if you'd like to purchase a t-shirt, please send me an email. You can email me at hroberts@gmail.com or LifestyleoftheBeliever. And let me know that you want to purchase a t-shirt. The shirts are $12. And for plus sizes above extra large, it's $14. Okay? Thank you so much. God bless. Mwah. You know I am all about that life, and that is the lifestyle of the believer. I'll see you next time. Guys, I'm coming for you next time, and I hope you tune in.